Imagine your world is on fire, but you aren't panicked. You aren't a victim of the fire, you are the architect of the regrowth. Lightning isn't an accident in Yellowstone, it's a scheduled delivery. 22 times a year, the sky tests the land. It burns away the dead brush, the old habits and outdated versions of ourselves that are literally choking our ability to move. Right now, we're looking at a short film by filmmaker Jeremy Brunansky. He shows us that resilience isn't about getting back to normal. It's about how the most vibrant colors in your life, the reds, the purples, the deep empathy, require the heat of the 1988 fires to even exist. By the end of today's episode, you'll be able to identify one piece of dead brush in your life. Are you trying to save it? Or are you brave enough to let the lightning take it? Grab your coffee, tea, or wine. It's time for another episode of The Sidebar.
So if you want to understand how to bounce back from complete destruction in your own life, you actually have to look at lightning strikes and the hidden necessity of getting burned and, of all things, 1980s fanny packs.
Right, which sounds like absolute chaos, I know.
It really does. But welcome to the deep dive, everyone. We are so thrilled to have you with us today.
Yeah, welcome. And, well, what we're actually looking at today is this profoundly precise blueprint for human resilience.
Exactly. And it is completely disguised as a travel vlog, which is the best part.
It really is.
I am so excited to get into this with you because our mission today is to explore a short 2018 film by Jeremy Brunansky. It's titled Yellowstone National Park and the Spirit of America.
Yeah, and instead of just looking at this as a visual tour of a famous destination.
Right, like a typical vacation video.
Exactly. We are looking at it as a masterclass in recovering from the darkest moments of your life.
And to do this, we're pulling from a really great stack of sources for you today. We have the transcript of the film itself, a post from the creator's blog, and a reference guide that details the creator's personal background.
Right. But I think we should clarify right up front how we're actually using that reference guide.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Because we are not treating it as a biography or like a resume.
No, not at all.
The artist's background is going to serve purely as a philosophical lens for us. It's basically the tool that helps us decode the deeper themes that are just, hiding in plain sight in this cinematic landscape.
Yeah, I love that. So let's just jump right into that landscape, because to really grasp the concept of resilience that this film is trying to show us, we have to look at how the filmmaker sets up the whole concept of hardship in the first place. And he does this by weaving together this tale of two timelines. He pairs the ancient history of the physical land with the modern history of the country itself.
Right. He deliberately grounds the viewer in the staggering physical reality of the park before he even tries to deliver the metaphor.
Yeah.
And the scale of that reality is just hard to overstate.
It really is. The film walks us through these majestic, honestly mind-boggling stats. Established in 1872, Yellowstone was the world's very first national park.
Wow. First one ever.
First one. And we were talking about 2.2 million acres of lush land and wildlife.
Which is just, I can't even wrap my head around that number.
Right. To put it in perspective for you, that is larger than the states of Rhode Island and Delaware combined.
That is insane.
It's massive. It's this sprawling ecosystem that stretches across Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. It even has 5 different entrances.
And the history of how we even came to call Yellowstone is just this incredible journey through American exploration.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah, the film tracks the name's evolution. It starts with these early 1800s French-Canadian trappers.
Right.
And they referred to the area as Roche-Chouan.
Roche-Chouan, yeah.
Which was basically them translating the indigenous names for the yellow-colored rocks that were, all along the river.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, and then that evolved through the explorations of David Thompson, and eventually it gets to Lewis and Clark.
Right, the big names.
Exactly. And they settled on the 2-word English translation, Yellowstone, with a space.
Yellow Space Stone.
Right, and then eventually the space was dropped, the word stuck, and it just became this global icon.
And for over a century, it has provided the world with endless days of inspiring landscapes. The film shows these zooming, crystal clear waters.
Beautiful shots.
Beautiful arrays of natural color, massive waterfalls, deep canyons. It paints this picture of a place that has basically been living a life of absolute luxury. But then the film makes this incredibly sharp, dramatic pivot. It intentionally just shatters that illusion of a perfect, easy existence.
It really does give you whiplash, because the narration takes all of that pristine natural beauty and suddenly it contrasts it with this rapid-fire list of historical American tragedies. Yeah, it's intense.
The viewer is forced to confront immense hardship. The narrator just starts listing the 1929 stock market crash, the bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941,
Right.
the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, the housing crisis of 2007.
It's this heavy, heavy list. And then, humorously tucked right in the middle of these massive global traumas, he lists men's fanny packs in the 1980s.
Which is just such a brilliantly disarming choice.
It really is. I laughed out loud when I heard it.
Because it acknowledges that, well, adversity comes in many different forms for all of us.
Yes, exactly.
You know, sometimes it is globally catastrophic and sometimes it's just culturally embarrassing.
Like a neon fanny pack.
Exactly. But the core message he's driving at is undeniable, really. Just like America as a country has faced these seemingly insurmountable setbacks,
Right.
Yellowstone, the park, has been ravaged and destroyed time and time again, yet both of them fundamentally continue to rebound. You know, okay, let's unpack this. Because when I first watched this sequence, I thought about like a human being's social media profile versus their actual reality.
Oh, that's a really good comparison.
Right, because usually when we present something to the world, whether it's our own lives or a national park, we only want to show the beautiful highlights.
The polished version.
Exactly. The zooming waters and the 2.2 million lush acres. But this filmmaker deliberately drags us into the messy reality. He forces us to look at the traumas, the 1929 crashes of our lives, and, you know, the fanny pack embarrassments.
Yeah, he doesn't let you look away.
Right. And it really begs the question, why introduce so much heavy historical baggage into what looks like a nature video?
Well, to answer that, we have to look through that philosophical lens we mentioned earlier.
The reference guide.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture and open up the creator's reference guide, we find someone who is heavily influenced by deep systematic thinkers.
Okay.
We are talking about the Roman Emperor, Marcus Aurelius, and Stoicism.
Heavy hitters.
Very heavy. We're also talking about the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung and his work in depth psychology alongside, historical military strategists.
Wow. Okay, but how does any of that translate to shooting footage of a forest? Like, how does Marcus Aurelius help you film trees?
Well, let's look at what those philosophies actually teach. Like Stoicism, especially through Marcus Aurelius, it isn't just about having a stiff upper lip.
Right. It's not just grinning and bearing it.
Exactly. It is the core belief that you cannot control the external world. You can't stop the lightning strikes, but you completely control your response to them.
Okay, I see where this is going.
The obstacle becomes the way forward. And similarly, in Jungian depth psychology, there's a concept of the shadow.
The shadow self, right.
Jung argued that to become a whole, healthy person, you can't just look at the sunny, pleasant parts of your personality.
You have to look at the dark stuff.
You have to confront and integrate the dark, suppressed, burned out parts of your psyche.
And what's wild is this creator doesn't just read about confronting the darkness, he actively seeks it out in the physical world.
He really does.
The guide points out he has completed 2 different Spartan races.
Yeah.
For anyone listening who hasn't seen these, they are grueling. He did a Super 10K and a Beast 21K.
A Beast 21K is no joke.
No. They're these muddy, physically punishing endurance events where you are, like, climbing over walls, carrying heavy sandbags, and literally crawling under barbed wire.
Which tells us everything we need to know about his vantage point.
Right.
He isn't a passive tourist just looking at pretty trees.
Right.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, he is looking at Yellowstone as a living, breathing entity that perfectly embodies these exact philosophies.
It's the physical manifestation of it.
Exactly. The park is the Stoic ideal. It absorbs uncontrollable, destructive forces, and instead of dying, it continues to move forward.
Okay, hold on, though. I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Because it is incredibly easy to romanticize hardship from a philosophical distance. You know, to sit in a quiet room and say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Right, the classic bumper sticker philosophy.
Exactly. Are we actually saying the artist suggests that destruction is a requirement for growth? Or is he just looking at an unfortunate byproduct of nature and trying to put a positive spin on it?
That is the exact skepticism you should have.
Good.
And it is a challenge the film answers directly by exploring the actual literal mechanism of resilience presented in the park, which is fire.
Ah, okay.
The destruction we are talking about isn't an accident. It is a strict ecological necessity.
And the numbers alone here are staggering. The film states that Yellowstone averages 22 fires a year, due to lightning strikes.
Think about that.
22 fires a year, meaning this splendid beauty sees a fire almost every other week.
The landscape is constantly being ignited.
Yeah.
But here's the crucial context. 75% of those fires never grow beyond 1/4 of an acre.
Wow, so they're really small. This completely shifted my perspective because when I think of forest fires, I think of like an apocalypse.
Right, complete devastation.
But the film refers to these as cleansing fires. They naturally burn away the dense brush that piles up on the forest floor. And if that brush isn't cleared out, it chokes the land. It literally prevents wildlife from being able to navigate the terrain to graze and feed.
What's fascinating here is the profound why behind all of this. Why is the destruction necessary?
Yeah.
It comes down to how the ecosystem is entirely designed around recovering from lightning strikes. Nature and the local firefighters, they know exactly what they are doing.
Right.
The fire isn't the end of the story. It is the mechanism that clears the old brush to make room for something more beautiful and complex.
And the output of that adversity is stunning. Crucially, the new growth from these fires produces vibrant color palettes that go way beyond the standard greens and browns we expect.
You get these incredible reds and purples.
Exactly. It creates a dynamic environment that physically could not exist without the fire paving the way first.
The destruction is the prerequisite for the renewal.
Which brings us to, I think, the most important part of this deep dive, transferring these themes directly to you, the listener.
Yeah, this is where it gets really actionable.
Because now that the mechanics of the park's resilience are clear, we have to look at the inspiration the filmmaker actually intended for us.
Right, and to make that connection, the film forces us to look at the devastating fires of 1988.
Oh, man.
This wasn't one of those small quarter-acre cleansing fires. This was a massive historic event, and the remains of those wrecked trees can still be seen along the highway today.
They're just standing there, these scorched reminders. But right alongside footage of those burned trees, the core thesis of the film is delivered. The narrator says, even if you are almost completely destroyed, you can come back even better than before.
That is such a heavy phrase.
Yeah.
Even if you are almost completely destroyed. But it carries so much hope.
It really does, because the film shows actionable humanity. It shows that Yellowstone didn't just survive 1988. It built on what remains so future generations can prosper.
Right.
It offers everything from IMAX theaters to live performance theaters to quiet spots for fishing. It took the devastation and built this incredible infrastructure.
And the filmmaker brilliantly humanizes this massive philosophical point right at the end.
I love the ending.
After delivering this heavy meditation on stoicism and enduring destruction, the narrator immediately goes to grab ice cream at a mom-and-pop shop.
It completely browns the message. Like, you can endure profound, life-altering hardship, and you can still just really enjoy an ice cream cone on a Tuesday.
Exactly. The trauma doesn't have to rob you of simple human joy.
So what does this all mean for you? Think about those 22 annual fires in Yellowstone. Those are the daily, unexpected lightning strikes in your own life.
Right.
A sudden career setback, a personal loss, or just the overwhelming stress of daily life. When those strikes hit, it feels like an apocalypse.
It feels like you'll never recover.
But the lesson from Yellowstone is that you have to view your own brush fires not as permanent ruin, but as the painful, necessary clearing of the ground.
They are burning away the old habits or mindsets that were actually choking you.
Exactly. That fire is allowing for new, vivid colors to grow in your life that you simply could not have grown otherwise.
You are fundamentally built to rebound.
Yes. So, to quickly recap our journey today, we started with a scenic park. We navigated through the stoic mindset of a filmmaker who runs Spartan races, and we learned that just like Yellowstone in America, you are built to rebound nicely from the fires of life.
You really are. But as we wrap up, this raises an important question that I want to leave you with today.
Okay, let's hear it.
The film points out that the scorched blank remains of the 1988 trees still stand right alongside the vibrant new growth on the highway.
Right. They're right next to each other.
So what? What if true resilience isn't about erasing or hiding the scars of your past fires? What if instead you are meant to let those burnt trees stand proudly as monument to what you've survived, while you focus on cultivating the beautiful, unexpected new colors growing right beside them?
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today, learner. Take these lessons from Yellowstone, embrace the cleansing fires, build your future on the exposed brick of what remains, and go out there and impress and marvel the world. Catch you next time.